You know what's funny? What I found funny about this whole thing is I saw the movie and I had a low score when I rated it. I'm like, this was not a good movie. But it wasn't it wasn't as bad. But as it sat with me, I'm like, this is getting worse in my head. Like, what is happening? The score just kept on going down. This is a horrible movie. It should have been straight to stream. Straight to stream, they should have.
Wow.
New movie, The Flash.
The movie itself was entertaining.
I'm going to let you guys talk about what you think was a good movie.
Seriously wanted to stand up and walk out.
The score just kept on going down.
That nostalgia must have been very short-lived.
Okay, here we go.
For movies, especially for DC, they released that new movie, The Flash. We had mixed reviews.
Mixed reviews?
Mixed?
I would definitely say bad reviews.
Oh,
Horrible reviews.
I would go
mean?
with mixed. I would go with mixed. So, and here's why I say mixed. The movie itself was entertaining. Ezra Miller, I didn't expect him to be enjoyable, but he actually made me laugh a lot. So, I liked it, but as far as a DC movie goes, you see I'm wearing a Marvel shirt because they got the right formula on how to actually make movies, and this movie was hot dog water when it came to putting the DC universe together.
I'm going to quote Mad V here whenever I say I'm going to let you guys talk about what you think was a good movie, and then I'm going to shut this down real quick and tell you why it's an awful movie.
Mr. Jersey ain't here to convey, but I know he feels the same way I do. The movie itself was good, in that sense. I'll say that. But
it wasn't good at all.
I seriously wanted to stand up and walk out in the middle of the movie.
Wow.
And I paid $20 for a freaking ticket, and around here that's expensive, and I would have rather gone to see it at the dollar cinemas.
You know what's funny? What I found funny about this whole thing is I saw the movie and I had a low score when I rated it. I'm like, this was not a good movie. But it wasn't as bad. But as it sat with me, I'm like, this is getting worse in my head. Like, what is happening? The score just kept on going down. This is a horrible movie. It should have been straight to stream. Straight to stream, they should have. That's being generous.
Yes.
After all the hype that they put into this movie, I mean, shoot, I was hyped for it, but all of a sudden for it to turn tail like that, oh wait, this is a follow-up?
It was like that.
Did you guys at least enjoy the nostalgia factors?
I gave it, at first, was a 47, right? And then I put it up to a 51, only for nostalgia reasons. That's the only reason.
That was the only redeeming factor of that whole entire movie.
That nostalgia must have been very short-lived.
Who was the Keanu Reeves looking Superman?
That was Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage. That was Nicolas Cage.
With Nicolas Cage, the reason why they showed him, it was an homage because they were going to have a Superman movie with Nicolas Cage in it.
I'm like, why? What is happening?
It was just a different universe.
But speaking of the cameos, the CGI for all of them was awful. That was the terrible CGI throughout the entire movie. The only thing that I liked was the lightning. Was about it.
Out of all of the CGI, there is only one that I absolutely love. I think they knocked it out of the park.
Good.
And that was Christopher Reeves. They made sure his was perfect. Of all of the nostalgia Superman, Christopher Reeves was perfect. Nicolas Cage looked horrible.
It was really him, though.
No.
It was CGI.
It was CGI.
No, it was CGI.
It was CGI.
It was all CGI.
So all over the interwebs, they were saying that the whole bad CGI and stuff that you're seeing was all artist interpretation. They did that because they wanted to.
You know
be
what that
famous
is?
for that.
That's just a bunch of excuses.
For a movie to have the CGI is supposed to be that much better, it's in comparison to video game graphics.
Are they done? Like, can they come back from this?
I don't think so.
I will say this. James Gunn came out and said the only one that he sees in his universe of The Flash is Blue Beetle. That is the only one that has been confirmed. So I'm hoping that means that Ezra Miller's gone, and like I said before, they did their Flash movie. That's hashtag not my Flash.
Let's look at what we already know. So in this movie, at the end of the credits, I'm sure if you guys just stayed to the end, it was useless. It was absolute. It was baloney.
That one end credit scene,
but it didn't do anything for the story.
It didn't build up anything.
So to Flashmaster's point, right? I was thinking, is this where they're going to basically flush all of the characters down the toilet? Because at the end of the movie, you now know, like, okay, they showed the appearance of George Clooney. So
yeah,
there is no more Ben Affleck. Michael Keaton died. That universe of Batman is gone. Okay, in the other universe, that whole universe has died. Kara, she dead. Superman, as an infant, was killed by Zod. So that whole thing is gone. Okay, that universe is dead. Now we're going back to the universe where Ezra Miller showed up. So when Barry went back to get young Barry, the younger Barry kept going back in time and he messed everything up. Who knows how long and how many times, almost like Kang the Conqueror, if you will.
Right.
Speaking of, they build up this amazing scene for Barry coming back and going, trying to save so many times, and have that villain of the Dark Flash and everything for that lackluster finish. All it took was just
finish. It was
a 30-second fight, if that, and he was gone. And I
thought
why?
Two things. One, I wasn't aware that he was in a different universe. Andy, thank you. I didn't pick up on that because I was so done with the movie by that point that I missed that. Okay, that's one. Two, I thought that James Gunn was tanking. Like, is this not a James Gunn movie? Because I thought that he was intentionally tanking.
No, this was not a James Gunn movie. So here's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say is that if in order for them to flush this all down and to start over anew, because the way that they redid this universe at that last scene where George Clooney shows up and it's like exactly what Andy said. Oh, snap. He's not in the same universe. Okay, so who's Wonder Woman? Question mark. Who's Superman? Question mark. But then at the end of the credit scene, they show Jason Momoa, but they're talking about tanking him as Aquaman. But he's there. I didn't get that. And then that's all it was. I was like, okay, so what did that do for the DC universe? Absolutely nothing. This movie just put it in the same place. There's no movement.
Here's my question. Maybe I misinterpreted this, but it was my understanding that Jason Momoa was getting all of his information from Flash.
He was saying so Batman was that.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
He said that he's like, you don't understand. There was this many Batmans, and he's like, so there's this many universes, and he's just drunk. Dude's just belligerent.
It was nothing. There was nothing to take away.
It was nothing.
There was no takeaway.
My biggest pet peeve of the entire movie was they changed too much of the Flash's story. They completely took out Reverse Flash and Flash's story. It's not Paradox at all.
Not at all. Nope.
They don't explain how it happened. They don't show that giant fight scene of him having to stop the Reverse Flash or anything. Only thing Flash had to do was grab a can of tomatoes and set it inside his mom's cart to save his mom. That right there, as soon as I saw that, I was just like, I'm done with this movie.
I'm done. Wow. Personally, I'm curious. I wonder how many people were watching this movie when he knocks him out of the multiverse, the void. How many people were like, oh, we're about to get the Reverse Flash. This is about to be amazing.
I kind of got excited. I was like, oh, cool. And then you never see him again.
So I think what they were trying to get at, as far as the can of tomatoes, is that even a simple move as that and how it can quickly change an outcome, but even if you do, no matter what,
you change everything.
The end is inevitable. You can't change it. I'm going to stand up for Mr. Jers. He's not here, being a Superman fan. They underwhelmed Kara bad, being a Kryptonian on Earth. Like, yo, she got beat up mad quick and got killed by Zod.
Multiple
Zod
times.
hadn't even been on Earth that long. Let's take it back to Man of Steel, 2013. When Zod and everybody, when they came to Earth, they were still trying to understand their powers. Superman, that's why he had to up on all of them. He whooped everybody because he knew how to operate his powers. Zod wasn't even at full capacity, but Kara, she could fly. She had the eyes.
So my actually for you here is that Kara had been locked away. She had no idea how to use those powers. She was stuck in a lead-based ball for her entire life. they were experimenting on her since she hit Earth.
If that's the case, then why on earth, if she had been locked away for that long, and off the rip, she was able to fly?
So what they did is they gave us the exact scene that they did in the Flashpoint right here for Superman. They just completely swapped Superman out for Kara. As soon as he touches that sunlight, he's able to fly. Takes a little bit to learn and figure it out. He's able to use his heat vision and everything. Now with Zod and everything, remember he had that suit that kind of like blocked him from doing it because he had that everything. So I get where you're coming from with how was he able to defeat her,
right?
Even though the
other part of that though, from what I know, is that Zod is also a military general and he was locked away from freaking crimes. You know what I'm saying? So he knows something about something when it comes to fighting.
But look at Superman. He knew nothing. He's a kid from Kansas, and he beat him up good. But that's because he knew.
Slow down. When it comes to Superman, though, remember when he went to Fortress of Solitude, right? And when he touched the crystal, and what did the crystal do for him? It pretty much taught him what was going on. His dad taught him what was going on. Even if you're relating it to Man of Steel.
My point is that they really just made Kara like she like came out and then like started whooping everybody, and then as soon as she showed up with Zod, she got killed real quick. And I was like,
multiple times.
She inevitably was going to get killed, and that's how they wrote it. Like, I get it.
Right. Mad V, I think, made a point in saying, like, listen, this might be something that they're just leaving to die.
So I want to go back to something that Matt said whenever he was bringing up the can of tomatoes, how that's like a small butterfly effect, how they wanted to show it. But the emotion that they missed out on whenever they didn't do what they did in this storyline right here, with how Barry had to watch his mom die and had to watch her get murdered. That emotion and everything, and have the conversation with her and everything as she's dying. It's just so much more emotion in that they missed out on by just being like, oh, here's a can of tomatoes that you can just set right here.
They did good with that last scene though, when he just said bye to his mom though. Yo, that was actually pretty good.
It
Whatever.
Was like
you like
comparing.
The movie. You like the movie.
The movie itself was okay. Everything that we're tearing apart is my beef with it. I gave it a 68, but for the movie itself, if you don't
being too generous,
75.
Too generous.
Let's say I took my significant other to go see this, and she knows nothing about comics. Would she be entertained by this movie?
Yeah, my wife was. My wife loved it. But that's because she doesn't know.
I know my wife wouldn't, but she knows as much as I do because I talk about Flash all the time.
So in essence, it wasn't a bad movie. It's just a bad movie to anyone that appreciates comics.
Who's an actual fan?
Well, I will say this much. My wife, she appreciates the old school movies, okay? And I'm going to say Christopher Reeves. I'm going to say, like the 1950s Superman, Batman, all of that. She appreciates that. She's never been much into the comic books, but even she wouldn't like this. My wife would have picked this thing apart in a heartbeat.
Why bring Iris West into the story whenever they show max 10 minutes of this woman?
Because they wanted for the people that have been watching The Flash on the CW. They did that for that reason.
Which is the better Flash in the universe.
Oh yeah, that's way better Flash. That is my Flash. Why show her in this movie if they're not going to build on anything throughout the entire movie? It's just like pointless. It's just, okay. Even in that scene where he just leaves her.
Come on. It's his wife.
That's for people that know. But people who go to the movies and don't know, they're just like, who is this person?
The only reason anybody came to see this movie is because they were expecting the Flash that they know of.
But that goes back on your question. Would people that don't know of the Flash that go to watch this movie like this movie? They'd be like, "Who is this person? Why are they showing her?"
But now they know. But the way they did that, and what's upsetting me now, is because you're giving me an understanding of what they did, where people that didn't watch or read the Flash or know anything about comics, they're going to appreciate. They're like, "Oh, I hope that's a budding relationship." Oh, I hope that comes. So it was a good movie, just not to us.
No. I would say that I agreed with Vernon about how the longer I thought about it, the lower my score went. Wow. I started off at a 69.
Ooh.
Oh.
I would say maybe a 56. Maybe.
When I left the theater, my honest score was a 74.
Whoa!
It was.
Less.
What?
It was a 74. I was like, this wasn't a good movie, but I like to judge things from just a baseline point of view. And then you just put the nail in the coffin with, oh, well, why would they show Iris? Well, now you know Irish. They did their job with introducing the Flash to people who didn't care about the Flash prior to.
What grade are you giving it now?
I'll give it a solid 70.
Spartacus giving high grades, and here you go with Mad V, happy about the movie with a 70.
So no, me and Mad V, we talked on the side. And the thing is that this is the way that I see it. This movie needed to hit like the way Across the Spider-Verse did. This movie needed to hit like that one did. It needed, in order to save the DC universe, so getting a 70 or gracefully a 75, that's still a failure. This movie needed to hit out of the park. It had to, and it did not. So it's a failure.
And you've given the same score to a movie that was very good. And you said, yo, I give it about a 75, and it was actually a slapping movie. It had demerits because of little things. I guess in this case, you're saying that the big demerit was really the writing, and this is going to die someplace.
I understand them trying to kill this universe off. Okay, I understand them trying to kill off these characters. But you don't want to kill off these characters in this way. Because you're going to have so many people. I know I don't want to go watch any more DC movies because of it.
Wow.
This is the way that it's going. You're killing off a whole series of movies with stupidity because they brought in Gal Gadot. They brought in all three Batmen. Val Kilmer was the only one that I didn't see in there in any way, shape, or form. They brought in all the Supermen and Supergirls. You know, you're bringing all these characters in and you're going to kill them off like that. Nobody's going to want to see another DC movie after this. It was horrible.
I'll say this one last thing. I'm happy that Grant Gustin and John Wesley Shipp did not cameo in this movie.
Absolutely.
So where they can be like, I am not a part of this.
I have nothing to do. I respect that. I respect that.
So this has been an interesting discussion. There's a lot of still mixed reviews between all of us. And we'd like to hear what you guys think. Like and subscribe. And tune in next.
They're going to appreciate. They're like, oh, I hope that's a budding relationship. Oh, I hope that could. So it was a good movie, just not the us.
No,
come on.
No, don't you dare say that.
You did this.
I did not.
I want to hear everybody's score. I think I heard Spartacus. I heard Flashmaster. Spartacus was very generous. I wish I would take his class in high school.
I gave it doo-doo water.
Not
even hot dog water. Just straight doo-doo water.
Straight gross.